Hello.
You stole my line.
Sorry.
Hi, welcome to Fun and Friends. I'm Avalon.
I'm Sabrina.
And welcome to our channel.
Welcome.
We've been working on Throne of Glass, and we're going on to chapter 2, and probably more than just chapter 2, because there's only like 2 pages in there, so we might be doing this book in chunks, just because the chapters are like really short. They're like 3 pages, so we're probably going to do them in chunks, so we'll see how many we get through. We'll post it with the number on the top when we get to there.
Exactly. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your blankets.
I got mine.
Get cozy. She has hers. I got
Though
my
I
water.
probably should have changed out my church clothes, but you know, I'm still cozy with my blanket.
We're good. We're all good. We hope everyone had a great new year. Hope your 2022 is getting off to a great start, and we look forward to spending this whole year with you guys reading books and listening to your ideas of what books we should read next, and your commentary, your questions, and whatnot. We might add some different types of videos to this channel as well. We'll just see how the year progresses.
We've already started adding some other stuff on there.
Some short films from our TikToks.
Yeah, she added some TikTok films. I've kind of added a new section, I don't know if you noticed, but with like meditation. So I took one of your pictures and I put it in there. Or your videos, not pictures. Videos,
one of my
TikTok
TikTok
put it in there.
meditations.
And then Gary and I, my husband, we took a trip up to Palomar Mountain, and I recorded the snow coming down, and I put some like steady music to it. So if you guys want to check that out, if you guys are still in school and just need some relaxing vibes, that's in there. So but I know I want to try and put some more dog cosplay videos on there, because I was having fun with Chewy dressing him up in different Star Wars costumes. I'm thinking that we'll probably do some Harry Potter ones too, because I love Harry Potter. We were just talking about that. I love Harry Potter, so we'll try and do maybe some Harry Potter ones. And I know Sabrina wanted to do some around San Diego, different hidden places, get to know us type stuff on there too.
Some Q&As. So you'll see like on our Instagram page, which you should go follow, is Fun and Friends. I'll post a Q&A board on there for you guys to send us questions, so we can do a little Q&A video, maybe once a month or every other month, something like that. That's a little different than our typical book reading book club that we like to do here, just to show different sides of us, because we are people and we have multiple things that we're interested in, and we would love to share that with you guys, and maybe even some, I don't know, tips and tricks for life and what we learn that helps us on the way. Just stuff like that.
I know you wanted to do some cooking stuff too.
Oh yeah, some cooking. We'll add some cooking in there as well. But so leave comments down below. Check out the Instagram page, Fun and Friends. The link is in the description box. And we're excited for you guys to follow along with this new book.
Please follow us. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers so we can do a good giveaway. So please subscribe.
Please. Okay. The review from chapter 1. So I forget her name already, but the main character, Selena is a prisoner at this castle? She works on the salt mines, and she's getting dragged away by some of the knights or the bodyguards, basically. And she's like, oh no, like, this is it. This is where I'm going to die. Selena. And she thinks this is where she's going to die now, for whatever reason, because no one's telling her why she's being pulled away from working in the salt mines to go to the castle. And she finally gets to the castle, and they try to trick her by going through different hallways, different back doors, stuff to trick her, because she's blindfolded too, I think. But she is actually paying attention to where they're going, so she actually knows how to escape the castle if she really needed to, because they've done it, I guess, more than once at this point. And then she finally meets the Prince Adeline. I had it right the last video. But and that's where it ends up, where she is meeting him, and she finds him cute. She's talking about his eyes and his skin, I think, but she finds him cute.
Ooh, we got an enemies to lover thing going on.
Yeah. So, chapter 2.
Chapter 2. Your Highness, said the captain of the guard. He straightened from a low bow and removed his hood, revealing close-cropped chestnut hair. The hood had definitely been meant to intimidate her into submission during the walk, as if that sort of trick could work on her. Despite her irritation, she blinked at the sight of his face. He was so young. Captain Westfall was not excessively handsome, but she couldn't help finding the ruggedness of his face and the clarity in his golden brown eyes rather appealing.
Okay. I love that they included golden brown eyes, because usually in every freaking description it's always about blue eyes. Blue eyes. So, finally some brown eye action.
I know you're excited because you got brown eyes, but I was like, I'm so used to my blue eyes. Like,
no, everyone fantasizes over the blue eyes. But, you know, I feel
like brown eyes show more emotion, though.
I agree. And we
feel
need to
like
talk about brown eyes more in fantasies.
Yeah,
you do.
That's just where I'm like, brown eyes show so much emotion. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, she cocked her head, now keenly aware of her wretched dirtiness. This is she? The Crown Prince of Aderlin asked, and Selena's head whipped around as the captain nodded. Both of them stared at her, waiting for her to bow. When she remained upright, Cheryl shifted on his feet, and the prince glanced at his captain before lifting his chin a bit higher. Bow to him indeed. If she were bound for the gallows, she would most certainly not spend the last moments of her life groveling in submission. Thundering steps issued from behind her, and someone grabbed her by the neck. Selena only glimpsed crimson cheeks and a sandy mustache before being thrown to the icy marble floor. Pain slammed through her face, lighting splintered her vision. Her arms ached as her bound hands kept her joints from properly aligning. Though she tried to stop them, tears of pain welled. That is the proper way to greet your future king. A red-faced man
he's a
snapped
future
at Selena.
king.
So apparently he's not the king yet. Well, he is a prince. They said he was the crown prince. Say prince.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Royal family.
I'm thinking
royal
ahead.
family. We always bow to the royal family.
Yes.
The assassin hissed, baring her teeth as she twisted her head to look at the kneeling bastard. He was almost as large as an overseer, clothed in reds and oranges that matched his thinning hair. His obsidian eyes glittered as the grip tightened on her neck. If she couldn't move her upright arm just a few inches, she could throw him off his balance and grab his sword. The shackles dug into her stomach, and fizzing, boiling rage turned her face scarlet. After too long a moment, the crown prince spoke. I don't quite comprehend why you'd force someone to bow when the purpose of the gesture is to display allegiance and respect. It's true.
I like that. I kind of like
it's true.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
it's out of respect.
It is a respect thing, and she doesn't respect him, so
she's not gonna bow.
Yeah. So yeah, his words were coated with glorious boredom. Selena tried to pivot an eye free for the prince, but could only see a pair of black leather boots against the white floor. It's clear that you respect me, Duke Parrington, but it's a bit unnecessary to put such effort into forcing Selena Sardothian to have the same opinion. You and I know very well that she has no love for my family, so perhaps your intent is to humiliate her. He paused. She could have sworn his eyes fell on her face. But I think she's had enough of that. He stopped for another moment, then asked, Don't you have a meeting with Endeavor's treasurer? I wouldn't want you to be late, especially when you came all this way to meet with them. Understanding the dismissal, her tormentor grunted, released her. Selena peeled her cheek from the marble that lay on the floor until he stood and left. If she managed to escape, perhaps she'd hunt down Duke Parrington's fellow and return the warmth of the greeting. As she rose, she frowned at the imprint of the grit she left behind on the otherwise spotless floor, and at the clink of the shackles echoing through the silent room. But she'd been trained to be an assassin since she was the age of 8, since the day the king of assassins found her half dead in the banks of the frozen river and brought her to his keep. She wouldn't be humiliated by anything, least of all being dirty. Gathering her pride, she tossed her long braid behind her shoulder and lifted her head. Her eyes met those of the prince. Dorian Havilar.
Havilar?
Why are these names so hard?
They are.
Haviliard smiled at her. It was a polished smile and reeked of court-trained charm. Sprawled across the throne, he had his chin propped by a hand, his golden crown glinting the soft light. On his black doublet, a emblazoned gold rendering of a royal wyvern occupied the entirety of his chest. His red cloak fell gracefully around him and his throne. Yet there was something in his eyes, strikingly blue, the color of the waters of the southern countries. Haha, we got some blue in here.
Well, I knew it was an epic, but I'm glad we mentioned brown.
But we got some blue. So we're even. Now we just need some greens in there.
Yeah, well, they just talk about obsidian, which is black. So
We got black. So we got black, brown, blue. We need green.
And hazel.
And hazel. So we got two. We need two more.
Yes.
Okay. And the way they contrasted with his black raven hair that made her pause. He was achingly handsome and couldn't have been older than 20. Princes are not supposed to be handsome. They're sniveling, stupid, repulsive creatures. This one, this. How unfair of him to be a royal and beautiful. She shifted on her feet as he frowned, surveying her in turn. I thought I asked you to clean her, he said to Captain Westfall, who stepped forward. She had forgotten there was anyone else in the room. She looked at her rags and stained skin, and couldn't suppress the twinge of shame. What a miserable state of a girl, a former beauty. At a passing glance, one might think that her eyes, blue or gray, perhaps even green. Oh, see, no,
Perhaps even green.
Perhaps even green, depending on the color of her clothing. Up close, though, these warring hues were often offset by the brilliant ring of gold around her pupils. But it was her golden hair that caught the attention of most. Hair that had still maintained the glimmer of its glory. In short, Selena Sardothian was blessed with a handful of attractive features that compensated for the majority of average ones. By early adolescence, she discovered that with the help of cosmetics, those average features could easily match the extraordinary offsets. But now, standing before Dorian Hildevard, as little more than a gutter rat, her face warmed as Captain Westfall spoke. I didn't want to keep you waiting. The Crown Prince shook his head at when Chartle reached for her. Don't bother with the bath just yet. I can see her potential. The prince straightened, keeping his attention at Selena. I don't believe that we've ever gotten the pleasure of an introduction, but as you probably know, I'm Dorian Hildevard, the Crown Prince of Adderlin. Perhaps now Crown Prince of most of
Arila?
Arila. These names! It's not even fair.
I know.
She ignored the surge and crash of bitter emotions that awoke with the name. And you're Selena Sardothian, Anderlin's greatest assassin. Perhaps the greatest assassin in all of Arila.
Maybe it's Arila.
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 Arila. Arila.
Arila. Right?
Arila.
Arila. Okay. I'm just going to go with that.
We're going to go with that.
We're going to go with that. He studied her tensed body before he raised his dark, well-groomed brows. Apparently he goes and gets them waxed.
Well-groomed. I like it. I just got mine done.
Went to European Wax Center, got them done.
Exactly.
Oh. Okay. He raised his well-groomed brows. You seem a little young. He rested his elbows on his thighs. I've heard some rather fascinating stories about you. How you find in Dover after living in such excess in Rifthold, arrogant ass. I couldn't be happier, she groaned, as her jagged nails cut into her palms. After a year, you seem to be more or less alive. I wonder how that's possible when the average life expectancy in these mines is a month. Quite a mystery, I'm sure. She batted her eyelashes and readjusted her shackles as if they were lace gloves. The Crown Prince turned to his captain. She has somewhat of a tongue, doesn't she? And she doesn't sound like a member of the rabble. I should hope not, Selena interjected. Your Highness, Chartle Westfall snapped at her. What? Selena asked. You will address him as your Highness, Selena gave him a mocking smile and then returned her attention to the prince. Dorian Hilvard, to her surprise, laughed. You do know that you're not a slave, don't you? Has your sentence taught you nothing? Or that you're now a slave, don't you? Has your sentence taught you nothing? Had her arms been unshackled, she would have crossed them. I don't see how working in a mine can teach anything beyond how to use a pickaxe. And you never tried to escape? A slow, wicked smile spread across her lips. Once. The prince's brows rose and turned to Captain Westfall. I wasn't told that. Selena glanced over her shoulder at Chartle, who gave his prince an apologetic look. The chief overseer informed me this afternoon that there was one incident 3 months. 4 months, she interrupted. 4 months, Chartle said. After Sandothian arrived, she attempted to flee. She waited for the rest of the story, but he was clearly finished. That wasn't even the best part. The best part? The prince said, face caught between a wince and a smile. Chartle glared at her before speaking. There's no hope of escaping from Endover. Your father made sure of that with each of Endover's sentries. Could shoot a squirrel from 200 paces away. To attempt to flee is a suicide. But you're alive, the prince said to her. Selena's smile faded as the memory struck her. Yes. What happened? Dorian asked. Her eyes went cold and hard. I snapped. That's all you have to offer as an explanation for what you did? Captain Westfall demanded. She killed her overseer and 23 sentries before they caught her. She was a finger's tip from the wall before the guards knocked her unconscious. So, Dorian said. Selena seethed. So, do you know how far the wall is from the mines? She gave her a blank look. She closed her eyes and sighed dramatically. From the shaft, it was 363 feet. I had someone measure. So, Dorian repeated. Captain Westfall, how far do slaves make it from the mines when they try to escape? 3 feet, he muttered. Endover sentries usually shoot a man before he's moved 3 feet. The crown prince's silence was not her desired effect. You knew it was suicide, he said at the moment. The amusement was gone. Perhaps it had been a bad idea for her to bring up the wall. Yes, she said. But they didn't kill you. Your father ordered that I was to be kept alive for as long as possible to endure the misery that Endover gives it in abundance. A chill that had nothing to do with the temperature went through her. I never intended to escape. The pity in his eyes made her want to hit him. Do you bear many scars? Asked the prince. She shrugged, and she smiled, forcing the mood to lift as he stepped down from the dais. Turn around, let me view your back. Selena frowned, but obeyed. He walked towards her, Chartle stepping closer. I can't make them out clearly through all this dirt, the prince said, inspecting her skin. What skin showed through the scraps of her shirt. She scowled, and scowled even more when he said, and what a terrible stench, too. When one doesn't have access to a bath and perfume, I suppose I cannot smell as finely as you, your highness. The crown prince clicked his tongue and circled her slowly. Chartle and all the guards watched them with their hands on their swords, as they should. In less than a second, she could get her arms over the prince's head and have her shackles crushing his windpipe. It might be worth it, just to see the expression on Chartle's face. But the prince went on, oblivious to how dangerously close he stood to her. Perhaps she should be insulted. From what I see, he said, there are 3 large scars and perhaps some smaller ones. Not as awful as I expected, but, well, a dress can cover it, I suppose. Dresses? He was standing so near she could see the fine thread detail on his jacket and smelled not perfume but horses and iron. Dorian grinned. What remarkable eyes you have, and how angry you are. Coming within staggering distance of the Crown Prince of Aderlin, son of man who sentenced her to slow, miserable death, her self-control balanced on a fragile edge, dancing along a cliff. I demand to know, she began, but the captain of the guard pulled her back from the prince with spine-snapping force. I wasn't going to kill him, you buffoon. Watch your mouth before I throw you back in the mines, the brown-eyed captain said. Oh, I don't think you do that. And why is that? Chartle replied. Dorian strode to the throne and sat down, his sapphire eyes bright. She looked from one man to another and squared her shoulders. Because there's something you want from me. Something you want badly enough to have me come here yourselves. I'm not an idiot, though I was foolish enough to be captured. And I can see this is some part of secret business. Why would you leave the capital and venture this far? You've been testing me all this time, and if I'm physically and mentally sound. Well, I know I'm still sane, and I'm not broken, despite the incident at the wall might suggest. So I demand to know why you're here and what services you wish from me, if I'm not destined for the gallows. The men exchanged glances. Dorian steeped his fingers. I have a proposition for you. Her chest tightened. Never, not in fanciful dreams, had she imagined the opportunity to speak with Dorian Hildebard would arrive. She could kill him so easily, tear the grin from his face. She could destroy the king as he had destroyed her. But perhaps his proposition would lead to escape. If she got beyond the wall, she could make it. Run and disappear into the mountains and live in solitude in the dark green of the wild with a pine needle carpet and a blanket of stars overhead. She could do it. She just needed to clear the wall. She had come so close before. I'm listening, was all she said. Ooh, that was a lot. Mm-hmm. Hey, should we go on or should we stop there? What do you think?
Your call.
We'll go on. We'll do one more. Chapter 3. The prince's eyes shone with amusement at her brashness, but lingered a bit too long on her body. Selena could have raked her nails down his face for staring at her like that. Yet the fact that he'd even bothered to look when she was in such a filthy state. A smile slowly spread across her face. The prince crossed his legs. Leave us, he ordered the guards. Chartle, stay where you are. Selena stepped closer as the guards shuffled out, shutting the door. Foolish, foolish move. But Chartle's face remained unreadable. He couldn't honestly believe he'd contain her if she tried to escape. She straightened her spine. What were they planning to make them do? What were they planning that would make them so irresponsible? The prince chuckled. Don't you think it's risky to be so bold with me when your freedom is on the line? Of all the things he could have said, that was what she had least expected. My freedom? At the sound of the words, she saw a land of pine and snow, a sun-bleached cliffs, and white-capped seas.
I want to be there right now.
I know, I'm like, she's talking about how, like, she has this, like,
up in Oregon or something.
She's like, pine needle carpet with
Forest.
stars over the sky. I'm like, I'm thinking
White
of, like, a
waves.
little hammock strung between two trees with the stars overhead with my little flashlight, reading my book and enjoying the smell of pine trees.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, and maybe even a little crackling fire next to me.
Yes, that's what I need right now.
I was like,
that's what I need.
Take me camping. I'm ready.
So ready.
I am so ready. I want to go camping.
Mm-hmm.
I have spring break coming up, but I think I'm going to try and do a surprise thing for Carrie. But we should still find the time to go camping. I have a tent.
Just let me know.
Let's do it. I need some pine trees.
Yes.
Even though I just got back from the snow.
I know, you were just up there.
I'm like, I just want to go back. It was nice.
Very nice.
Yes, your freedom. So I highly suggest, Miss Saldothian, that you get your arrogance in check before you end up back in the mines. The prince uncrossed his legs. Though perhaps your attitude will be useful. I'm not going to pretend that my father's empire wasn't built on trust and understanding, but you already know that. Her fingers curled as she waited for him to continue. His eyes met hers, probing intent. My father hasn't gotten it into your head that he needs a champion. It took a delicious moment for her to understand. Selena tipped back her head and laughed. Your father wants me to be his champion? What? You didn't tell me he managed to eliminate every noble soul out there. Surely there's one chivalrous knight, one lord of his steadfast heart and courage. Mind your mouth, Chartle warned from behind her. What are you, she said, raising her eyes at the captain. Oh, it's too funny. Her, the king's champion. Our beloved king finds you lacking. The captain put his hand on his sword. If you'd be quiet, you'd hear the rest of what your highness has to tell you. She faced the prince. Well? Dorian leaned back on his throne. My father needs someone to aid the empire, someone to help him maneuver around difficult people. You mean he needs a lackey for his dirty work? If you want to put it so bluntly, then yes, said the prince. His champion would keep his opponents quiet. As quiet as the grave, she said sweetly. A smile tugged on Dorian's lips, but he kept his face straight. Yes, to work for the king of Adarlan as his loyal servant. She raised her chin. To kill for him, to be his fang in the mouth of the beast that had already consumed half of Arila. And if I accept, then after 6 years he'll grant you your freedom. 6 years! But the word freedom echoed through her once more. If you decline, Dorian said, anticipating her next question, you'll remain in Andover. His sapphire eyes became hard, and she swallowed. And die here was what he didn't need to add. 6 years as the king's crooked dagger, or a lifetime in Andover. However, the prince said, there is a catch. She kept her face neutral as he toyed with the ring on his finger. The position isn't being offered to you. Yet. My father thought to have a bit of fun. He's hosting a competition. He invited 23 members of his council to each sponsor a would-be champion to train in the glass castle and ultimately compete in a duel. Were you to win, he said with a half smile, you'd officially be Andolan's assassin. She didn't return his smile. Who exactly are my competitors? Seeing her expression, the prince's grin faded. Thieves and assassins and warriors from all over Rila. She opened her mouth, but he cut her off. If you win and you prove yourself both skilled and trustworthy, my father has sworn to grant you your freedom. And while you are his champion, you will receive a considerable salary. She barely heard the last few words. A competition against some nobody men from the god knows where, and assassins. What other assassins? She demanded. None that I've heard of, none as famous as you. And that reminds me, you won't be competing as Selena Saldothian. What? You will compete under an alias. I don't suppose you've heard about what happened after your trial. News is rather hard to come by when you're sleeping in a mine. Dorian chuckled, shaking his head. No one knows that Selena Saladin is just a young lady. They thought you were far older. What? She asked again, her face flushing. How is that possible? She should be proud that she kept it hidden from most of the world, but you kept your identity a secret all those years that you were running around killing everyone. After your trial, my father thought it would be wise not to inform Arila who you were. He wants to keep it that way. What would your enemies say if they knew that you were that they had been petrified of a girl? So I've been slaving in this miserable place for a name and a title that don't belong to me. Who does everyone think Ardalan's assassin? My mouth is making weird choices right now. Who does everyone think Adarlan's assassin really is? I don't know, nor do I entirely care. But I do know that you were the best, and people still whisper and mention your name. He fixed her with a stare. If you're willing to fight for me, to be my champion during the months in the competition, I'll see that my father frees you after 5 years. Though he tried to conceal it, she could see the tension in his body. He wanted her to say yes, needed her to say yes so badly he was willing to bargain with her. Her eyes began glittering. What do you mean, we're the best? You've been in Dover for a year. Who knows what you're still capable of? I'm capable of quite a lot, thank you, she said, picking at her jagged nails. She tried not to cringe at all the dirt underneath them. When was the last time her hands had been clean? That remains to be seen, he said. You'll be told of the details of the competition when we arrive in Rifthold. Despite the amount of fun you nobles will be betting on us, this competition seems unnecessary. Why not just hire me already? Just as I said, you must prove yourself worthy. She put a hand on her hip. The chains rattled loudly through the room. Well, I think being Aderlin's assassin exceeds any sort of proof you might need. Yes, Charles said, his bronze eyes flashing. It proves that you're a criminal, and that we shouldn't immediately trust you with the king's private business. I give my solemn oath. I doubt the king would take the word of Aderlin's assassin as bond. Yes, but I don't see why I have to go through the training and the competition. I mean, I'm bound to be a bit out of shape, but what else do you expect when I have to make do with the rocks and pickaxes in this place? She gave Charles a spiteful glance. Dorian frowned. So you won't take my offer? Of course I'm going to take your offer, she snapped. Her wrists chafed against the shackles badly enough that her eyes water. I'll be your absurd champion if you agree to free me in 3 years, not 5. 4. Fine, she said. It's a bargain. I might be trading one form of slavery for another, but I'm not a fool. She would back her freedom. She felt the cold air. She could win back her freedom. She felt the cold air of the wide open world, the breeze that swept through the mountains and carried her away. She could live far from Rifthold, the capital that had once been her realm. Hopefully you're right, Dorian replied, and hopefully you'll live up to your reputation. I anticipate winning, and I won't be pleased if you make me look foolish. And what if I lose? The gleam vanished from his eyes, and as he said, you'll be back here to serve out the remainder of your sentence. Selena's lovely vision exploded like dust from a slammed book. Then I might as well leap from a window. A year in this place has worn through me. Though imagine what would happen if I returned. I'd be dead by the second year. She tossed her head. Your offer seems fair enough. Fair enough indeed, Dorian said, and he waved his hand at Chartle. Take her to the rooms, clean her up. He fixed her with a stare. We depart for Rifthold in the morning. Don't disappoint me, Ch.2-3. It was nonsense, of course. How difficult could it be to outshine, outsmart, and then obliterate her competitors? She didn't smile, for she knew that if she did, it would open her to a realm of hope that had long been closed. But still, she felt like seizing the prince and dancing. She tried to think of music, tried to think of a celebratory tone, but could not recall a solitary line from the mournful bellowing of the Yule song. Work songs. Deep and slow like honey poured from a jar. And go home at last. She didn't notice when Captain Wistfall led her away, nor did she notice when they walked down the hall after hall. Yes, she would go to Rifthold, to anywhere, even through the gates of Wyward and into hell itself, if it meant freedom. After all, you aren't Adelin's assassin for nothing.
Hey.
So it sounds like she's going to be competing. And I think that
An assassin competition.
I have a feeling that the assassins that she's going to be up against are actually going to be like not nobodies, because it's all of the kings are going out and trying to find like the best people out there.
Yeah, so it might be some people that she knows.
It might. And I'm thinking like just because like she doesn't know them, it doesn't mean like they haven't gone over to like, you know, for example, like gone over to China and like found people in China. Like we wouldn't know about people in China who are assassins, but they're like, they could still be amazing over there.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that she's in for more of a competition and that she's being really cocky. Like extremely cocky. Thinking that she's already won the competition.
Yeah, but she did admit herself that she is out of shape.
Yeah, at least there is that. So I'm wondering if we're going to have like a montage, like couple paragraphs of her like training.
Yeah,
or if she's going to be just like cocky and be like, I'm just going to go into it as I am because I'm still going to be the best even if I'm out of shape.
I think that might happen because I just think it might happen, and then when it does happen, we're gonna get the inside version of her head, like, oh shit, like I need to step up my game or I'm gonna be killed.
I think that's how it's gonna roll. Is like my prediction is.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna get into her first match and she's gonna be like, yeah, I got this in the bag, guys, like, watch me.
And then quickly she's gonna be humble and,
and she's gonna be like, oh, I did not train for this. I'm so booked.
I need to get it together soon.
I better get it together soon or we're gonna have a really bad problem. So
back to the salt
and then we're gonna have our training montage of her going
for the next competition, because I see maybe levels.
Well, I'm thinking it's gonna be like
Hunger Games.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like Hunger Games, because Hunger Games, like, everyone was in the same arena.
Yeah.
And then they went at each other. I have a feeling it's more like fighting pits type thing is what I'm envisioning. I don't know. If
like a ring.
Like a ring.
A boxing
and
ring.
So, yeah, exactly. So, and I'm thinking that it's gonna have like different weapons on the side and like different barriers and stuff like that. Honestly, I'm kind of envisioning How to Train Your Dragon with the dragon fighting ring.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they're training. So like where one assassin comes in on one side, one comes in the other, and it's like fight, ding 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 ding, and then they like go at it. So that's kind of like where I'm envisioning. But I'm thinking like
this person could go either way.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's gonna be like a tree, like branches where it's like, okay, these two are gonna fight, and then these two are gonna fight.
Oh, I see, like the competitor.
These two are gonna fight, and then these two are, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
where it's like a tree, rather than we're just gonna throw you all into one ring and you're just gonna duke it out. Especially because if you're like, I mean, I think the Hunger Games style is a little bit more, what's it called? More elaborate. But it doesn't last as long, and it sounds like they're trying to place bets and stuff, and it's easier to place bets on, like, rounds rather than just, like, a whole, like, throw everybody in the pit and whoever wins, wins.
Possibly.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but I also feel that maybe the king is wanting to find someone quicker so he could go ahead and get these level of people killed after he picks his assassin. You know what I mean? Like, his urgency.
Well, the other thing that I'm curious, because he said if you don't win, you can go back to the mines. I'm assuming if they're assassins, they're killing each other off, so they're going to die in the competition. But he seemed to think that she would be going back to the mines if she lost. So I'm wondering...
Maybe they aren't killing each other. Maybe they're killing, like, other... like, targets?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they'll have, like, different things that they have to kill, or like tasks that they have to do. Is my other thought, is like maybe like, or I'm gonna put you in a pen with a lion and all you have is a spear, like
figure it out,
and then if you don't,
or like, I need you to steal this whatever treasured whatever from another kingdom or realm, and you have to go and get it and bring it back to me, like,
hey, there's a witch in the forest and she has this like silver ring that I need. Please go steal it from her without being caught.
But then she has like a moat and like, I don't know, an animal that's hanging outside of her house to protect the house, and you know, whatever, something like that.
I feel like in order for it to be like interesting, because like I said, they're placing bets, like maybe they won't even tell them that there is a moat or an animal, so they'll just be going, oh yeah, there's a witch in the wood, go take this back.
But then
when she gets there, she's like, oh my god, there's a dragon outside. Oh my gosh, there's a moat underneath it with crocodiles.
Yeah, a lot of different defenses to get through, to get almost like Harry Potter.
Yeah, the Triwizard Tournament.
Yes, it's almost like that, because like when they're underwater, they have to go through a lot of, I don't know, things in order, and like avoid the mermaids to get, I don't know, whatever it was that they had to get back up to the surface type
They
of
had
thing.
to go and grab their the person that was
that was wrapped up.
Kidnapped.
Yeah, in the water, but there were still like obstacles to get through.
Yeah.
To get there.
I don't know. So that's why I'm like, I'm wondering how they're gonna do this tournament, because there's a bunch of different ways that they could go with this.
There is. It'll be fun to. It's fun to find out.
She's so sassy. Like, she's so full of herself and so sassy.
Yeah, she is. But I think the Prince is slightly turned on by it, though.
He said he crossed his legs. I was like,
yeah, I read that.
Concealing the hard on, are we?
We're concealing here.
We're
Conceal,
concealing.
don't feel it.
Don't
let it grow.
I was like, is this because you're angry or is
we're
this because
turned on?
something else going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
yeah, those are our predictions.
Those are our predictions and our thoughts. Please put your thoughts and your comments in below, and we'll see
you next time. Bye, guys.